Hello and welcome to BQ Conversations. We are here at the Auto Expo 2023. Today with us there is Mahesh, the Global CEO of Switch Mobility, the electric commercial vehicle making arm of Ashok Leyland. We're going to be asking, first of all, welcome to BQ Prime Sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So, first of all, I wanted to start with there are very new tenders. A lot of them are coming one after another from CESL, the government's arm for placing these tenders. So, first of all, I wanted to understand what is the kind of opportunity in terms of monetary opportunity that you see in this, because we have already seen two tenders and now there are more coming.
See, these tenders are consequent to the government's vision to decarbonize public mobility, and they have been doing it consistently for the past 1 year. So the intention is to achieve about 50,000 electric mobility in next 5 years. I think that's putting 10,000 vehicles on road annually. I think it's a very grand ambition. So if you look at the tender recently which we have won about 2,100 out of the 6,000 lot which has been tendered. Most of them are GCC contracts which have already been what I would say standardized by the tendering system over a period of last 3 to 4 years. It has matured in such a state that it is win-win for everybody. The CSL has made standard terms and conditions. There is a escrow account for collection, and ultimately I believe the electric mobility on the ground is operating cost much lower when compared to the current diesel in the economics of the price what it is running in the market. So this gives state transport undertakings to actually go all out to convert most of the new vehicles into electric. So I'm seeing an urgent requirement from the state transport undertaking. The CSL and the central government is taking a lead in standardizing the requirements across the states, and many of the OEMs have participated, including us, on electric mobility, which we are happy to serve.
The price discovery that was discussed, the news that was the headline news that came out of this, the recent tender, was it said that the price discovery is 29% lower than what it would have been with diesel vehicles. So, but the last time the tender happened, there was this controversy around what is the price discovery or whether it will be viable for the companies to operate on that pricing. So, do you think that the price discovery this time is it viable for doing business?
I think if you look at the first tender to the second tender, there is a general feeling that this tender is about 30 to 40% higher in price when compared to the first one. Because I think the first one was every tender, everybody matures. And this time there is no subsidy as well. Last tender had a subsidy. So I think the prices which we have quoted are very reasonable, and it is a win-win, unprofitable to us, at the same time win-win for the STUs. As I rightly said, these numbers are still lower than the diesel operating cost numbers. So you have to compare with the diesel operating level than the previous tender, because each tender will have different terms and conditions and uniquely placed. Last tender was a subsidy, this is without subsidy. By and large, we are happy with the numbers which has come in the CSL tender, and it will be profitable to us, and we believe that it will create value to the STU as well.
The total value of vehicles that had been tendered out till now, I think total 15,000 buses have been
11 to 12,000 have been tendered.
yeah, but the new latest tender also came out with
6,000 have been tendered.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
apart from that, 4,600 new more tender has come in.
But if all the tenders were to happen, which is 50,000 buses, can you put a ticket size to the entire order if it
See,
plays out over the years?
If you look at it, that 50,000 is over a 5-year period. Let's look at 10,000 electric buses have to be deployed every year by any OEM. That would mean that a capital investment of close to almost 18 to 20,000 crore being invested every year in this segment, and that is a substantial amount because that needs to be funded by banks, and some portion have to be done by equity. So this transition is going to be very capital intensive. Having said that, you'll have to also look at it. The annual revenue of these tenders over a period of let's say 12 years is substantially much higher. Every year you will have at least 3,000 crore worth of revenue into 12 years would be the 6,000 tender, right? So you'll have to look at that portion of it, because the mobility as a service, EMAS, is a new segment. It's capital intensive, like what I would say, energy sector, like solar panels. Once you invest, then you reap benefits over a period of time. It's very similar to that, and hence we'll have to look at priority lending for such sectors like this if we have to see much more scale going forward.
There has been concerns about payment processing as well from the government side. So, what do you think is the best approach to ensure that the companies also stay confident that they will get the payments on time from government? And what is do you think is the best approach to assure the companies?
I think one of the requirement what we have been talking about to the STUs is bankable contracts, because banks must need to get a what I would say confidence that the collection will be continuous for next 12 years without interruption, with a fair play for between STUs and the private sector. So while CSL put an escrow account for collection and viability funding being given by the state government, I think it is important that state government or STUs must work on payment guarantee, payment assurance mechanism, which will actually help to get the funding and scale up much faster.
My last question to you. So there has been concerns of financing when it comes to electric vehicles. So is financing a challenge right now?
See, the financing is challenging because it is linked to the past performance of financial performance of the many state transport undertaking. But I think past is not future. I think many state transport undertaking are looking at how to improve viability gap, to reduce viability gap between collection and the expenses. One of the method is GCC, and GCC is about 3 years old. The confidence is slowly building up in financial sector, but till such time, I think it is important government needs to support on priority lending for this if we have to scale up faster.
One more before I let you go. So budget is coming, and do you have any specific expectations from this budget to greater the adoption of electric vehicles in our country?
See, I think government have been doing substantially well in terms of FAME subsidy, in terms of auto PLI, ACC PLI, multiple demand incentive as well as production linked incentive to this EV sector. My only request would be like two factors which we talked about: how to enable financing for public transport bus funding, as well as how to support the commercial vehicle bus as well as the light commercial vehicle space in terms of extending FAME over a period of time. I always believe about adoption of about 10% in a segment will then take on by itself, because eventually subsidy cannot be continued over a period of time. We have to look at the break point in each segment, what to do. And right now, the public transport of electric buses and electric cargo movement in a light commercial space are the two space which we believe it needs some push from the government, which they are already doing. And if they continue to do for at least some more years, it will help.
Okay. Thank you so much for speaking to BQ Prime. It was a pleasure talking to you.